You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Voting in Georgia, an absolute unbelievable mess. Y'all got video rolling. I mean, there were massive lines, explosion of people voted by mail, but you had COVID concerns. I was seeing stuff from this morning that polling locations not having ballots in Atlanta, folks were yelling and cussing. Also, you've had the polling places, I think in Fulton County, have been extended to 9 p.m. because of this. LaTosha, what the hell happened today in Georgia?
It was a disaster. At my polling site, we were actually doing work today. We go around and work on elections. I was at my polling site for 3 hours. It was, and I'm sitting here saying, why is it? And it was interesting because I had this experience where I was at my polling site for 3 hours. I leave my polling site to go to another polling site, which was in the north part of Metro Atlanta, which is a predominantly white district. I get there. I didn't even realize, I was questioning whether that was a polling place because we didn't see any lines. There were people going in and out leisurely, like there wasn't the same kind of problems. For some reason, some parts of town, the machines always seem to work. And what's really baffling about this is that this happened in 2018, right? So here it is. And since 2018 to 2020, there are new machines. So this election cycle, mind you, that has been rescheduled twice. So they had additional time to get this together, in addition to the fact that there were new machines. So why in the world are we still seeing the same pattern that there are some polling places that the machines don't work? There were one of the places that we went to, which is in a predominantly African-American community off in the Campbellton area, over in an area close to my own home, where it's predominantly African-American, that it was the Adams Park precinct. That precinct, the machines did not get up until 12:30. Half of the day is gone. There were people and seniors who had been sitting out waiting to vote for more than 5 hours. One of the women that we talked to, when we were in line, we were talking to folks, we were giving out giving out masks and talking to folks and documenting and giving out water. And one of the young women, it was really striking, her name is Terry, who is a caregiver, that earlier that morning, she had gone with, I think in Cobb County, with her client, her patient, who happened to be a Caucasian American, and literally took her to vote. She said from getting from the car to inside, in and out, the entire process was 7 minutes. However, when she came over to her side of town during her break, she took a lunch break and came over on her side of town to vote. She had been in line when I talked to her for over 35 minutes. And the people in front of her said that the wait was averaging about 2 hours. So how can you have two distinctively different experiences in the same election? And the question is why? And we think that the Secretary of State is responsible. We also think the election, the election officials as well. But this is unacceptable. If we're seeing this now, what can we expect for November? But I can tell you, we're going to drive. It has to be for the Democratic Party. If for Biden, that number one on this list, that part of a priority at this time too, has to be around voter suppression and voter protection in this next election cycle.
Mustafa, looking at again the drama there, the reality is this here: we are in the middle of a pandemic. Absolutely. And so if we don't prepare, Mustafa, for this, look, you're not going to have the same number of people you normally do. My parents have worked polls for numerous elections. They're both 70, Dad's 73, Mommy's 73 in November. Okay? I don't know what their plans are, but I can tell you it's a good bet they're not going to be working polls come November, and they are sought after poll workers there where they live.
Yeah, we know these impacts that COVID-19 is bringing into the mix. And, first of all, thank LaTosha for all the incredible work that they've done to help to prepare people to have all the steps in place that are necessary to be able to vote. And we know more people are actually voting by mail where possible. But we also know that, these polling booths or these locations get moved. There's less folks who are actually working at them. So if we know this, then we have to make sure that the organizations that need the resources to help to better prepare our people have those, so that folks got their IDs, folks know that their names, they're registered and their names are correct, on the lists that are out there, knowing how to get to the polling locations, and even maybe having conversations about how, with the polling locations of, how many folks are going to be working there on those days, so that folks have a better idea. So there are a number of steps that we should be doing, because we know that there's these different types of barriers that are continually placed in front of us. And of course, now we have the extra, sort of set of impacts that are happening from COVID-19.
This is going to be an issue. What you have, Kelly, already, Republicans who plan on hiring 50,000 people to watch polls as well. This is going to be a problem. And yeah, if you're the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, the Secretary of State, shame on you for not being prepared after all these other states postponed and canceled their primaries. You had an opportunity to see what others did. Look what happened in Wisconsin. There were no excuses what happened in Georgia today, Kelly.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a slip up so much as it was intentional. Georgia, as well as many other states, have a history of very insidious, very sneaky ways of conducting voter suppression, going in, having to wait extremely long periods of time in line to vote. That can be considered a form of voter suppression, especially when every single area in your jurisdiction isn't experiencing that. You have to ask yourself why. You have to ask yourself how, especially when the resources are available for all jurisdictions within the state to accommodate the constituents in order to vote. Like LaTosha said, in regards to the different voting booths or voting polling places, one is actually being effective and one isn't, and you have to, ask yourself why. We know why, and it's disgusting how politicians, Republicans specifically, have to come up with ways to cheat in order to win, instead of just letting the process do its job and let the chips fall where they may. But it shouldn't be at the expense of a voter.
Absolutely. But what's also interesting, LaTosha, really, the Georgia Speaker of the House and the Secretary of State calling for investigations. Isn't the Secretary of State over elections?
You got one job. He got one job.
That's your only job, election.
That's his job. He got one job, and he failed miserably. You are supposed to manage and make sure that it's an effective and efficient election. Here, one job.
All right. Well, we certainly will see what happens again. If you're in Atlanta, if you're in that area, Fulton County, your polling places have been extended until 9 p.m. Still vote. I know the lines are long. Take precautions. Safe distancing. Folks, hopefully there are people out there who are bringing them water and snacks as they stand in that line. But look, this is a precursor to what November is going to be like. And I can tell you there's going to be a massive turnout in November. And so better get ready. And that's why the mail-in ballots are so important, because you can avoid those long lines on election day. LaTosha Brown, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Roland.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, folks. According to the CDC, as of today, there are 1,956,421 cases of COVID-19 in the U.S. 17,598 are new cases. More than almost 111,000 people have died. Now, 550 of those deaths are new. Dr. Anthony Fauci describes the coronavirus as his worst nightmare and warns that it isn't over yet. I'm not quite sure, Mustafa, people quite get that.
No, they don't. I mean, so we got a number of really serious issues that are still going on in relationship to COVID-19. One, there still isn't comprehensive testing that's happening. And the reason that I know that, and I appreciate, the folks who get on TV and, well, they were getting on TV and sharing their updates, is because when you actually call leaders around the country and ask, is it easy for the folks that you are serving to be able to get a test? And the answer is no. then we still have a problem.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, but Paris Denard, when he came on here, he said anybody who wants a test can get one.
Well, Paris actually needs to spend some time out there with real folks on the ground to see if that is actually true. I believe in ground truth and stuff. You know, people inside the bubble, they love to talk a good game. But when it comes to what's happening in real people's lives, it's usually markedly different than the words that come out of people's mouths. The other part is that, you know, we can continue to open up, you know, to try to get the economy going again, even when experts, public health experts have told us to be cautious in that moment. So we're also having, you know, there are going to be these additional, unfortunately, infections that are going to continue to happen because we rush to open up the economy again. And then, of course, there are all these other types of activities that have been going on, whether it's those of us who've been out protesting or others. And unfortunately, there are some folks who have PPE and there are some folks who still do not. And unfortunately, there's also been the narrative from leadership in this country. When you see them, they're not wearing masks. They're not practicing social distancing. They're not doing a number of things that gives people a false sense of security that these types of behaviors are how we should be moving forward.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Ceek, of course, you know, black-owned company. Mary Spiel owns it. They have these wonderful headphones, 360-degree 4D headphones that are fantastic, unbelievable sound. We have a partnership with them, folks, where if you get these headsets, you can actually use your promo code to get a discount. And so what you should do is use RMVIP 2020, RMVIP 2020 for these particular headphones. They're absolutely fabulous. Sounds great. And again, when you buy these, you are supporting a black-owned company. Go to Ceek.com, CEEK.com. That's CEEK.com. Trust me, you will certainly enjoy what they sound like.